Hello my dear friends, hope you all be fine and doing well. Thank you so much for joining me again. Thank you so much for joining in your channel. My dear friends, today I brought you a very fantastic video. In this video, I am going to show you how you can destroy the Petrov's defense. So without wasting the time, let's get started the game. So my dear friends, starting the game by pushing the pawn into e4. Your opponent is responding you by pushing the pawn into e5. Now you just simply take your knight into f3, and your opponent is also taking his knight into f6, as you are attacking to your opponent's center pawn, and your opponent is also attacking to your center pawn. So when you reach in this position, it is called Petrov's defense. Petrov's defense, my dear friends, is one of the most well-known and dangerous opening. So if anyone plays well, so it would be very fantastic and a strong game. So in this position, my dear friends, as a white, you just simply capture the center pawn by your knight. So in this position, the best move for your opponent is to pushing the pawn into d6 and attack to your knight. And here, if you take back your knight, so your opponent in this position can simply capture the pawn. So definitely, you have to take your bishop, and in another move, you can go simply castle, as your opponent also have different options to play. In this way, you can continue to the game smoothly. But what happens if your opponent make a mistake in the beginning? So let me show you. So my dear friends, in this position, after you capture the pawn into e5, if your opponent make a mistake by capturing the pawn by his knight, in this position, my dear friends, you just simply take your queen into e2. So in here, wherever your opponent take his knight, so by this discovery check, your opponent can lose his queen. So in here, if he bring his queen, so now you are capturing the queen by your knight. So your opponent is capturing your knight by his bishop. So you know that in this position, you won the queen. So therefore, you are in a winning position. So definitely, you win the game easily. So coming back to the main lines. In this position, if your opponent decides to bring his knight into d6, again you have this discovery check, and you can win the queen of your opponent. So in here, your opponent has only one option, and that is taking his queen into e7. Now again, you are capturing the queen, so the previous scenario will be repeated on him. So coming back to the third option that your opponent can play against you. And here your opponent is not taking his knight back. So instead, your opponent is pushing the pawn into d5 and defending from his knight. In this position, you just simply push the pawn into d3. Now, it is also the same situation for him. So now, wherever he take his knight, so he is losing his queen by giving this fantastic discovery check. So this is not a good line for your opponent. What happens if your opponent play another option? So my dear friends, after you push the pawn into d3, there is only one possibility, that if your opponent bring his queen into e7 and attacking to your knight, in this position also, you just simply, as a white, you should capture the knight. Now your opponent is capturing your knight. Now you have to simply capture the pawn. Now your opponent cannot capture your pawn because you pinned the queen. In this position, your opponent is directly capturing your queen. Now you are capturing the queen. So in this position, you are one pawn up. So therefore, you can win the game easily, as this pawn is an open file. So it is difficult for your opponent to stop this pawn. So my dear friends, this is the main lines. Your opponent has three options. So now your opponent is using the last option, and that is pushing the pawn into f5 and defending from his knight. So now you just simply push the pawn into d3 and attack to your opponent's knight. So in this position also, wherever your opponent take his knight, so he is simply losing his queen, because you have brilliant discovery checked by your knight and queen. So this is not a good move for your opponent. So in here, your opponent has this option to attack to your knight again. So now also you can capture the knight. So your opponent is capturing. So now you simply capture the pawn. In this position also, your opponent cannot capture your pawn because you pinned the queen in this position. So therefore your opponent is simply capturing your queen. So now you are capturing with your bishop. So now your opponent is pushing the pawn and attacking to your pawn. So in here you have this brilliant move defending from your pawn. So in the next move you are pushing, and you have also this option to go castle. In this way you can activate your pieces normally. So as you are one pawn up, so it would be a very fantastic game for you. So thank you so much my dear friends for watching this fantastic video, and I hope you enjoyed from watching this video. If you like the video, please subscribe the channel, share it with your friends. In this way, you are motivating me to make lots of good videos in the future. Thank you so much. See you in the next video.